Welcome to Off the Cut.
Dude, I haven't touched any wood in a long time.
I don't care how long it is.
Or you're trying to make eye contact with the person.
Maybe you're looking at it from the wrong angle.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad we got the explicit out of the way early.
If I'm going to put money into this, it's going to be great. And I guarantee it.
Get it? Welcome to Off the Cut, episode 167 for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, baby.
It's a good number. 167. Yeah. It's kind of a random one. Oh, hey, hold on.
Hey. Oh, bubbly. A little bubbly action. Ooh. So I got something for you.
Okay.
That was good. First off, check out this new flavor. Mojito.
Damn.
Yeah.
There were a bunch
just came out with a whole new line of their own house brand seltzers.
Okay.
They've got a mojito flavor, a mimosa flavor.
Okay.
Oh man, there's one more, and I can't remember the other one. It's like a cocktail flavor.
I like it. So they're all alcohol themed.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of similar ones here in Canada. I can't remember what company did them, but they were all soda flavors.
Oh, so it'd be like a cola flavor, like a
root beer,
lemon lime root beer.
Exactly.
Right.
And they were pretty good, actually. It's interesting. You think that in your head that soda flavor is so tied up with the sensation of sweetness. But when you strip the sweetness out, you're like, oh, it kind of still just tastes the same. It just doesn't have that sweet kick at the end. It was really interesting. Yeah. I thought they would be a lot less flavorful than they were, but they were still tasted a lot like what the thing they were supposed to taste like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, it's nice to be able to go to the grocery store and pick out any flavor of seltzer water that you want. But the problem is you can't pick up high-quality tools at the grocery store.
No, you can't. In order to do that, in fact, you're going to have to go to an entirely different store called kmtools.com.
Why is that?
Well, if you want quality tools, the only place on the internet to get them is KM Tools, because everything in their store is in their store. Or, no, wait, how does that one go? If it's in their shop, it's in their shop.
If it's in their shop, it should be in stock.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Shout out to Jonathan. I've never looked at his store and found something out of stock. He does the pre-order stuff for when it's coming out, but does a pretty good job of inventory management as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah, dude. He crushes it over there. I mean, they're going to have the mini bourbon. No, whoops. I don't know if I was supposed to say that.
That's the
rewind.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're going to have all sorts of new tools coming out shortly that you probably already know about. Anyway,
live stream crew, you might have just got a unofficial little sneak peek, but I think we might just bleep that for when it goes live.
Yeah, Deric, when you or I guess Zach, you're probably editing this one. Can we just get a big old beep? Can we get one of those over there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, live. This is a shout out. Watch the live stream. But anyway, regardless of what high quality tools you buy over at kmtools.com, a portion of the proceeds are donated directly to the Katz Moses Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund, which gets tools and resources into the hands of folks who need it most.
What a nice thing. And speaking of nice things, what else does he do for all of our patrons every single month?
Well, this is my shocking face. I feel like an audio format that didn't come through. Every month, he gives away a $50 gift card to kmtools.com. All that you have to do is go over to patreon.com/offthecuppodcast. Sign up for any tier level to unlock the bonus show and tons of other perks. Automatically entered to win. But the reason I was shocked, Zach, I didn't realize today was the first episode of the month.
It's our drawing day. Are you
prepared? It is. No, I'm not.
Okay, well, I'll stall for time.
No, see, what I do is I just talk about what I'm doing. I'm going to Google Drive. I have a folder called Off the Cut Podcast. Under that, I have a Patreon giveaway Excel file. Has
All of our
everybody's name? Yeah.
Is it like, so talk to me about this Excel file. Is it like name, phone number, credit card number, social insurance number?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because when you sign up for Patreon, we get all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know. We have
got,
like a little identity theft starter kit on each and every one of you guys.
Mother's maiden name.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
That one's always cracked me up because my last name is an amalgamation of my mother's name and my dad's last name. So I always kind of chuckle when I see that as an option as a secret question because it's like it's right there in my last name. A lot of Facebook or something like that. It's right there.
One of the things I find funny though is I don't know if you do it on purpose, but you're like I feel like no one like I know what your last name is, but I feel like no one knows what your last name is. Oh, I'm muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, sorry, I accidentally hit my thing. I think it says on Instagram, doesn't it? It's just not like it's not in the title of the channel.
Sure. It's not like you're hiding it, but you're not just actively throwing it out there.
Yes,
that's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's get this bad boy rolling.
I'm going to suggest we do something completely insane.
Okay, I like insanity.
I want you to just refresh one time.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
All right.
We've
never done that before.
Scott Walsh. I'm kidding.
Oh, I was going to say, Scott Walsh isn't a patron. He's too cheap for that.
A much better Scott. Scott Moore.
Oh, hell yeah, Scott Moore.
Hell yeah, brother.
You have $50 coming to you, courtesy of KM Tools. Oh, Scott's actually in the live stream right now.
Yeah, Scott. Whoops. Sorry, Scott. Scott Moore won. Scott Walsh, you didn't win a damn thing.
Yeah.
Cheap son of a gun. Speaking of, we gotta get Scott back, Scott Walsh back on the show soon.
Yeah, Scott, let us know in the live chat when you're available.
Or text us or something.
Yeah, we'll pencil you in.
Yeah, we'll pencil you in for a good chat. Maybe we can have Scott give away a course.
Oh,
see what I did there by throwing it out there? Now he feels obligated to give a course out.
Of course he feels obligated.
Was that a pun?
Yeah, I guess so. It was an unintentional one, but those are the best kind. So,
all right, fair. Well, Scott, not Scott Walsh. Scott Moore. I will get you in contact with Jonathan and his team. They'll get you out that gift card to kmtools.com. Just stay tuned for the next few days. You'll get an email from me. You'll be all set. Whew.
And that was a lot. One more housekeeping thing. I think we should address the giant purple elephant in the room.
I know.
Which is the lack of our third co-host, Deric. He's
really the main host.
Really the main host. He is the biggest draw for this show, right? He's got the...
For everybody wondering, he is safe. All of his organs are still intact. He'll be back next week.
I wonder if he's going to listen to this episode. You didn't listen to the episode when you were gone, right?
No, because you guys outed me. Because I asked you a question, and then you go, Deric goes, well, you clearly didn't listen to the episode. I go, you're damn right I didn't.
I don't know if I would listen to an episode where I was away. Seems self-indulgent to listen to your own podcast, even if you're not on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Just, no shame, though.
No.
Keith Johnson listens to his own Shop Sounds podcast like 4 or 5 times.
I was just going to make that same joke.
Well, we shouldn't. Go ahead.
I'm so pissed at Keith. He's absolutely killing me on. He's actually making money on Microsoft Start.
No, is he really?
Yeah, not like huge money, but he made 7x what I made this month, which I was. Not
Dude, I still. Well, let's talk about that. Well, we can talk about it now. They still haven't sent me like a login to like view how my stuff is going or doing or anything.
Dude, I messaged them and I said, hey, can I get the login information? Like, sure, no problem.
No response.
A month to get it to me. After that point, couple back and forth, couple reminders. Finally got it. As soon as I got it, I didn't even bother. I was like, okay, no, I haven't. I didn't bother looking in. So they could be scamming me for all I know. Maybe I am making the same amount of money as Keith, but they're just pocketing it all.
Yeah, I still haven't got any notification that I've made a single penny.
Yeah.
Nor have I on that video nest thing that I signed up for.
Yeah.
Wait, it says earnings. 17 cents.
Ooh.
Okay. I gotta text Keith. He said to text him as soon as I got any money from that. Well, that's big news. Well,
big money. Yeah, I still haven't seen a dime from what's it called? Syndicating all my content onto Spotify either. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it is. It's a long slog, but
yeah, I mean, I mean, we're taking the piss a little bit, but there's opportunities to kind of like get your content onto a bunch of different platforms. And like you said, Deric, got Deric on the brain. It's a little bit of a land grab early on. Anytime there's like a new social media platform, it kind of behooves you to get on it as quick as possible and just start building a presence on that platform. So it's not even really necessarily about the money. It's, it's just about being there. You want to be all the places.
Yeah, especially because a lot of these are invite only, which sounds really pretentious to be like, oh, Zach and I get on there. We didn't. Our agent got us on there.
Yeah. Spotify,
the only reason how.
Spotify and Microsoft have no idea who I am. We just kind of weaseled our way on through some side channels.
Right. Through like a group, a team, if you will.
But, yes, exactly.
Hey, I wanted to throw this out there because I completely forgot about this. Next week, Tuesday, June 10th, we are.
eBay sale.
Oh no! It's one of my sister's one of my friend's sisters texted me a bachelorette picture of a bachelorette party cake that I told her to send me a photo of when she finished. I'm sure you can see where that's going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. I'm guessing there's maybe a phallic shape to this cake.
Yes. Looks like a tower, a rocket ship. Anyway, Tuesday, June 10th, we were going to record. Mm-hmm. We are actually moving to Wednesday, June 11th.
That's right, because Deric's still on vacation.
Yeah, he's going to be on vacation.
Decompress.
And then I think we're going to do the next BYOC live hangout maybe the following week.
Yep, that works for me.
17th, something like that. So we'll just double check that with Deric when he gets back. But everybody mark your calendars for that. It's open to patrons.
Start warming up your cameras now.
Yeah, you're going to have to. Well, anyway, so let's back out to business here.
Yeah, rewind.
Zach, like before we were getting on, Zach's like, I just had to bring all the cameras, everything and stuff like that inside.
Yeah.
What were you doing outside?
Shooting a promotion sponsored content for Bear. Do you have Bear in the US? Like the paint company?
Paint stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Home Depot paint, I think.
Yeah, I actually don't know if they're wholly owned by Home Depot or if it's a subsidiary, or if they just have some sort of exclusivity with them.
Oh, this could be a conspiracy in and of its own.
Yeah. I should look this up. So full transparency, I'm working with this company for making some Instagram content. They have not said anything about no, they did mention something about being available at Home Depot, but I'm not working with Home Depot's like normal marketing company.
Sure.
So they at least have their own PR team or whatever that's separate from the Home Depot team.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth. But yeah, basically just doing a little gussy up on my backyard.
What are you painting?
Just the fence. So I stained the fence. I painted some lattice and then just kind of, do a little education on why it's important to, or like why adding a stain to your fence can make it last longer. And also that you can stain pressure treated wood, which I did not know.
I didn't know that either. I could only paint it.
That's what I thought. And I was having this conversation with the marketing company there. I was like, can I stain pressure treated wood? They were like, I don't know. Can you? I was like, can you ask like one of your chemical people or something
Right,
like that? And so it was an interesting convo. And yes, as it turns out, you can stain pressure treated wood. It looks pretty good when you do. Obviously, you have to take into account if it's brown. So if you're applying like a white stain or something like that, the two colors are going to interact. But yeah.
Same cautionary tale you'd give somebody is use a test piece first, on anything, right?
Yes, definitely. 100%. Make sure you like it.
So as someone who has a fence around our backyard that looks like absolute hell. But here's the problem. It's not my fence. It's just that all of my 3 neighbors, their fence touches mine. So am I allowed to stain my side of the fence?
See, I doubt it.
That's what I'm thinking too.
They've probably built their fences in such a way that it's wholly on their property. So, they could come out with a shotgun and blow you away for trespassing.
But see, what drives me nuts is I want to give it a little, like snazz it up a little bit. Because
you can always have like a person-to-person conversation with your neighbors and ask.
Never talk to them.
No? You don't know your neighbors, eh?
No.
Oh, interesting.
See,
I like to know my neighbors.
I feel like the onus is on them.
You did move in. That's true. They didn't bring you like a basket of muffins or anything like that?
No.
All right.
So in all fairness,
they might be horrible people.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. One of the houses is like it's a rental home. So it's like every like 3 to 6 months, it seems like a new family or whatever moves in there.
It's like an Airbnb or something?
No, it's like a longer term rental thing.
Okay.
I think it's typically for people because there's a Honda plant like 20 minutes down the road. That's like the biggest booming industry over in my area. So I think a lot of people like kind of like move in, get a new job at Honda or whatever, and they like kind of like rent a place while they get settled and stuff. Yeah. So haven't bothered to introduce myself to those folks because
no point. They're going to be out of there in another 3 months.
The other neighbor on the other side of our house, Mandy's met the husband.
Okay.
Never met the wife, but it's usually like the only time like I'll see him is if it's like pouring down rain and I'm running my trash out. Not like wave and stuff, like hello.
Yeah.
But I haven't like that's not the time to like strike up a conversation.
No, 100%. No, that's true. What about the and behind you? Behind you, I don't know if I know my behind neighbors, so I'll give you a pass on that one.
Well, behind us is what we refer to as trash house.
Okay.
Because
trash.
Oh, it's 100% a hoarder's home.
Okay.
Because 24/7 the blinds are down. And there's a dog that lives inside. We've never seen the dog outside. And sometimes the dog will kind of like move like the curtain over and there's just stacks of crap in there.
No.
Yes. And their whole backyard is just like knocked over wheelbarrows and all and like it's in rough shape for sure.
This is we were talking about yards the other day. And we're talking about, the state of people's yards and stuff like that. That one to me is a little bit of a pet peeve. I see these people, a lot of people in my neighborhood have like really nice yards, but they're just like filled with crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, one day with a weed whacker and like a trash disposal bin, I could make your house look a million times better. Not even a full 8-hour day. I could do it in like 5 hours.
New channel, Zach Mose.
I know, right? I know. And it's insane to me that people don't take that kind of initiative.
I know.
Yeah.
But see, like, so then I got this fence around our backyard. Trash houses, they're part of the fence. You can see where it's like old wood. I don't think was pressure treated because it gets like the teeny tiny like mold spores on it.
Oh, yeah.
And so like, what do you do about that? They're never going to replace that.
Yeah, you could pressure wash. I don't know.
I'd be afraid I'd blow the boards off the fence.
Yeah, true. I wonder what the legal ramifications are of pressure washing somebody else's fence.
Yeah.
But
if I like went up to those folks and I was like, hey, can I like, reface this fence or do this? I'm sure they would say no.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Huh. I mean, I'm completely guessing there.
I would be open. If somebody was like, can I reface your fence? I'd be like, yeah, sure, go for it.
But then you get into this weird thing, like should be a 50-50 split.
True. I feel like if you're approaching them and asking, you have to just eat the cost. But the nice thing about that is that the structure's already there. So all you have to do is face the thing, right? You just go out with a stack of deck boards and a nail gun. Yeah.
Oh, so in all seriousness, tell me about the staining pressure treated wood. Do you have to prep the stuff? Because when you cut pressure treated wood, don't you usually seal the ends of it and stuff?
Yeah, if you're a good boy, you seal the ends of every cut with a cut and seal product, which is basically like paint on pressure treated chemical, right?
Sure.
And then you should really give obviously clean it, pressure wash it. I think Behr actually makes a chemical that you can apply as like a prep step, though they didn't send that to me, so I didn't use it. I just gave it a good scrub, pressure washed it, and gave a light sand anywhere that it needed it. But I didn't want to sand too much because, as everybody knows, if you sand pressure treated wood too much, you go through the pressure treated coating, and then the stain would look uneven and blah blah blah.
Right. So what's your go-to stain application method? Are you the sponge? Are you a sprayer? Are you a roller?
See, great question. I asked them to send one of their little spongy things, but I didn't end up using it. I just brushed and rolled the entire thing.
Okay.
And there was some lattice work, which when I was doing that with a brush, I wanted to blow my brains out because it was so slow and so tedious. And that was where I wished I had a sprayer in order to do it. Just mask it off and spray and away you go. Would have been so much better than the way I did it.
You should have just gone out and bought like some bottom of the barrel, like $20 airless sprayer.
It's funny. I actually have a pretty nice one. I have that Greco one that runs onto wall batteries.
Oh yeah.
But it was at the shop, and I was like, I wasn't even planning on doing this project today, but the brand wanted it a little early, so I was like, okay, I'll set aside what I have. It's nice, it's sunny out today. Let me just get out there and film this.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably took about a half day or 3/4 of a day.
It was probably like 5-6 hours, something like that. So it wasn't too bad. But the extra hour to run to the shop, get the sprayer, set it up, I was like, yeah, it's probably not worth it. I'll just brush it out.
Yeah. They throw that brush out though. Are you a clean your brush kind of guy?
Interior house paint? Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I have nice brushes for painting inside, especially trim and stuff like that I will clean after using. Painting something like a fence, that bad boy's going in the garbage once I'm done.
What about paint rollers, like roller covers?
No, those go.
Yeah. I used to wash them, and then I wanted to, like you said, I want to blow my brains out.
Oh, the paint just keeps coming forever. Especially if it's a dark paint, like a black or something like that, it'll just keep coming out of that roller forever.
Even if it's like a 1/4-inch nap, it'll be in there for 30 minutes while you're trying to get the paint
100%.
out. Not worth your time. Buy another roller cover that's $4.
Exactly. But a nice paintbrush, $30-$40. So
that's true. That's true.
And they're generally a little bit easier to clean. And I don't know. Something feels wrong about throwing away a nice paintbrush at the end of the job. But 100% rollers, garbage. Tray liner, garbage.
People reuse tray liners?
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
I mean,
do they wash it, or do they wait for the paint to skim over and then they put more paint on top of that?
I think both are. If you're in a phase of your life where you're reusing tray liners, I think both methods are acceptable.
If you're really okay, this is the show title, one where they reuse tray liners. If you are reusing tray liners and you can't afford, like, what does tray liners like $1?
That's what I'm looking up right now.
Right? Don't paint your room.
Yeah. True, you're not in a financial position. Wow, tray liner is actually like $2 Canadian.
Oh, for God's sakes.
But still, the point stands.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the tray liner is that you accept that you are buying a little bit of your time back. For $1.70, you don't have to wash the tray. You just take the thing out, throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. You know what drives me nuts about our house?
What's that?
Is we don't have a slop sink.
You know what? I'm okay with just washing brushes and stuff like that in the regular sink.
In the kitchen sink?
You gotta budget some time at the end to give it like a good scrub down and make sure nothing stuck to it. But yeah.
Well, the real question is, what does Sophie think about that? Don't tell her.
She's not a fan. I try and clean it out. I try and do it when she's not looking, and then have it all nice and clean by the time she's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the old Scotch Brite pad out there, polish up the inside of the sink and stuff.
Exactly.
I feel you.
Yeah. Slop sink is definitely a nice to have, but not a need to have.
I would just love to go down there. It's nice and deep. You don't have to worry about splashing stuff all over the place.
True. We'll go buy a slop sink. They're not that expensive.
Yeah, but then I gotta plumb it, and I don't have time for that.
Is there anywhere where you could like take off? It'd be good if you had a slop sink in your shop.
Oh, I know.
Is there a good way? Okay. I want you to think about the layout of your home.
Yeah.
On any of the walls where the shop is connected to the rest of the house, is there a fixture like a washer, dryer, or a sink on the other side of the wall?
So the door that enters the shop is my laundry room.
Oh, okay. That's
so it would be close. It's on an adjacent wall.
Okay. Like kitty corner, 90
Yeah,
degree,
but I can get underneath that and like see where the plumbing goes up to the floor because we have like a crawl space underneath.
Oh, now we're talking.
So
this could be an afternoon job for you.
Yeah.
Here's what you do.
I've thought about it.
You shut off the water to the laundry room.
Yeah.
You go
bleed the water out.
Bleed the water out, of course. Yeah. Go and get like a shark bite T-fitting.
Yeah.
And you just hack, slide that T-fitting on, and then run your new line out to the garage.
Cover it with some electrical tape. Make sure it's nice and waterproof.
Yes, yeah, exactly. No, Flex Seal.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Flex Seal anything. I thought about it. I definitely have considered it. Yeah. I mean, I could do the same thing and having like one in the basement or whatever. Because then you could literally just run the drain to like the floor drain that's already in the basement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. You need to vent it, but still.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of people. They'll take like a slop sink in the basement, and they'll just run the pipe, and they leave like a 1/2-inch gap between the pipe and the floor vent, so it just kind of like drips into the floor drain.
Yeah, I mean,
if you really want to get wild, I suppose you could do that, right?
It's not the recommended way to do things, but it'll work.
I think that passed code.
Yeah, it'll pass a code.
Yeah. So besides the outdoor thing, what have you been working on? Any good projects?
No, I was doing a little bit of. I've cut together that video that I did for the Ford Maverick. I had some fun.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Yeah, so I edited that myself. Bryson was too busy working on my YouTube video, so I was like, all right, I won't trouble him with this. I'll just get to it. So I did a little bit of editing. I also got my 3D scanner, which I've been teaching myself how to use.
Buddy.
Turns out a little bit more complicated than I had originally anticipated. Like all things in life, it's got a little bit of a learning curve to it, but I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get some decent models out of it.
Okay. So walk me through. I have my phone or whatever in my hand, right? I want to 3D scan my phone. I know nothing about 3D scanning. What do I do?
Okay. So there are actually a few different ways you can do it. Okay. One of the ways, here I have the perfect. Okay, so you get this sheet of stickers. They're like little silver circles that you can put onto something. And these are tracking markers. So basically the 3D scanner sees these really, really clearly. It's really easy for them to pick them up. So you could cover the item in a bunch of these tracking markers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could basically put it anywhere. You could put it down on your desk. I've even seen guys handhold things when the item is covered in tracking markers. And basically, it just lets the scanner know that, hey, this is the item that I kind of have to focus on here.
Mm-hmm.
So you could basically like hold it in one hand and then kind of rotate it around and get all your different elements. That would be one way to do it. And that would actually be a pretty good way to do it because you would just have one model. You could capture every single angle of said object, phone in this case.
Sure.
The other way to do it is I'll show you. I actually have a setup here. Pardon how messy my office is. But this is a Lazy Susan. And it's kind of the opposite. So I have a Lazy Susan covered with a bunch of 3D printed things that are covered in those tracking markers.
Sure.
And basically what you would do here is set up your object in the center of this kind of tracking station and rotate it around slowly while you're scanning it with the 3D scanner.
So that allows you to effectively reuse the dots, if you will.
Exactly. So now I kind of have like a workstation where I can easily place any object and scan it. Downside to doing this, though, is that, again, so you'll see I have like a little circuit board here that I've been practicing on that's on the center.
Sure.
And you'll notice that I can only see one side of it effectively, right? So what you have to do is scan one side of it, flip it over, scan the other side of it, and then try to align those two 3D models.
Oh.
So you essentially have like, half a scan, and you try and puzzle piece them both together. Depending on the object, that can be easy or hard. And you can also add markers if you want in order to make that process a little bit easier. But for something thin like a PCB, it's really tricky to have markers that can actually be seen in order to stitch them together. It's a little complicated, but...
Well, let me ask you this, and maybe this doesn't solve the problem. So you're scanning these dots on the tray, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that creates some sort of like unique like workspace, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you then take some of those dots and maybe remove one dot? Is that now an entirely unique workspace itself? And now do you have two unique scans and unique workspaces that you could then tie together? Or is it effectively the same thing as what you're saying?
It's effectively the same thing. You don't need to remove a dot in order to create it. So basically I have this whole Lazy Susan thing here set up. I'll do a scan of it and it'll actually capture the entire work area,
right,
including all the 3D printed elements. And basically you just go in and you circle the data that you actually want and then delete the rest of it. So you just keep the object you're trying to scan and then you flip it over, scan it again, and then mesh them together.
Interesting. So what's the resolution of this? Are we talking like 1/10 of a millimeter, 100th of a millimeter?
Yeah, 1/10 of a millimeter is the max resolution of this particular scanner.
And I would assume as you increase the resolution, you increase the data or processing time, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm actually finding that in order to get a good scan, what I'll do is I'll scan at the finest resolution, but then when I import that model into Fusion or something like that, I'll often simplify it pretty dramatically. Like I'll tell it to, it'll end up being, I'm just kind of pulling this number out of my ass, but 80,000 points.
Sure.
And I'll say, you know what, this object doesn't need that many points, and then it makes your computer kind of chug. So let's simplify that down to 10,000 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got to imagine your computer is hot.
It's cooking. It's cooking. You need a lot of RAM. You need a good GPU and a good processor too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you gotten to the point where you're utilizing this in a build project yet? Or are you still kind of like, I need to screw around with it to figure out the workflow? I'm
still in the I need to screw around with this thing in order to figure it out. Maybe in the after show I'll share some of my initial scans with you. But the problem there's two problems that I'm running into. I'm pretty close. I have that PCB I showed you earlier. I have scanned that and I have moved it over to Fusion, and I've used it to make a part that kind of meshes with it.
Sure.
So I've kind of got the workflow down. Now it's more about refining it and trying to do it in the fastest way possible.
But being more efficient, right?
Yeah. One problem I'm having though is that I'll get a scan of this L-shaped PCB. I'll get it into Fusion, and then to get it to sit perfectly flat and at a perfect right angle is actually it'll just import into Fusion at some random angle. So in order to get it to lay perfectly flat on the plane so that you can reference it, you actually kind of have to just sit there and like tweak it 1 degree, half a degree this way, half a degree that way in order to get it to sit perfectly so you can actually reference it properly.
Is it because all of your scan points aren't perfectly on a coplanar path?
I guess so. Yeah, it's kind of when you build the 3D model, they just call it a point cloud. So there's not actually any like point of reference. There's no orientation to it. So I think when you import it into Fusion, it's just a completely random orientation. Yeah.
One thing you could potentially do is, and you might have tried this, it may not work. Selecting like a couple corners, and then using like the Fusion 360 function, like add plane through like midpoint or plane through points, and then
maybe
trying to use that plane as like your reference surface, perhaps.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I could try doing that.
I don't know if it would work. So does it import as a mesh, and then do you have to convert the mesh to bodies? Is that how it works?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it'll come in as a mesh, and then again, usually in Fusion. So in the 3D scanning software, I'll usually do an optimization pass to kind of clean up the data a little bit, and then I'll import it into Fusion and use their optimization to kind of like smooth out and reduce the number of points, and then I'll convert it to a solid body.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. And you should see the body's kind of wild too, because it's just like millions of triangles.
Yeah, it kind of looks like back in the day, like first 3D video games, like a Super Mario 64. There's tons of just like polygons and geometries that are all connected to each other, right?
Yes, but think that, but like the surface of the moon. Like because it's scanning at such a fine detail, it's when you zoom out, it looks like the object you're trying to reference, like you're trying to scan. But then when you zoom in way on it, you're like, there's just like little micro deviations in the surface of it. So nothing is really like perfectly flat, which I'm still kind of working my way through how to address that as best as possible.
Does that really upset your mental OCD?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You're like, no, this piece is flat. Just model it flat. But
yeah,
no, there's actually a texture to that.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's like I don't know if the 3D if there's just noise in the 3D scanning data, or if it's actually like that fine of a resolution that it's picking up these little micro imperfections in the surface of the device. It's yeah.
So I guess for everybody at home, like the idea would be, say you took like 3D printer, you took your build plate, right?
Yeah.
In our head, that is effectively just a flat piece of metal.
Yeah.
Well, that 3D scanner is going to pick up every little undulation and texture and wave and stuff, and it's going to look like it has millions of data points, right? It's not just a flat sheet of metal.
Yeah. Here, let me see. I was going to try and pull up one of these. Okay, yeah. Let's see if I can share my screen with you and have this work. Present, share screen. I'm doing your method. I'm just talking through.
Yeah, you got to, because it's an audio format. So as long as you keep talking,
yeah, exactly,
everyone's engaged. Oh, Zach's now sharing a screen. This looks like the Death Star.
But you see what I mean, right? Like this down here should be a straight edge, but it's like and then like you zoom in really close, and this is even after optimization.
So that looks like a heat sink over like the processor or something.
Yeah,
like that,
exactly.
Right?
It's actually an SD card slot, but I know what you mean.
Okay.
So you can see there's like the headphone jack over here, and this is only half the scan. So if I go over here to this, okay, hold on, that's got color data, which makes it harder to parse. This one's actually a little bit of a better scan. You can see like you have a bunch of like resistors and stuff down here. Here's the other side of the headphone jack.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's like, I know one way that you could use this, which is probably not a super effective method, right?
Here's another one.
Oh, see, like that controller looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really good, but then like you zoom in. Well, here now I'm zooming. So these are all the individual points, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's still like if you zoom in far enough on it, like the controller stick is a good example. It's fuzzy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the controller stick does have a finish to it, a tactile texture to it.
Exactly, right? So I'm not sure like how much of it is noise and how much of it is real information. And from a 3D modeling point, I would be fine assuming that that control stick is smooth. So how do I then just get the right, I don't know, the right degree of simplification when I import it into Fusion?
So like your PCB example,
Mm-hmm.
I could see how if you effectively took that scan into Fusion, right? And then kind of use like a fit point spline around that to then develop your own component or own body shape. Like that would work. But it's also like, well, at that point, why don't you just take a picture of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure it's a more elegant solution that'll just take some troubleshooting and like figuring it out.
The nice thing about so you're right, you could take a picture. The nice thing about, in theory, 3D scanning something is that you're also getting all that height data, right? So you get a lot of information about clearance. So like if I wanted to make my own custom heat sink, theoretically I would have enough data there in order to do that. So, and I was also just hoping that it would be faster than manually measuring everything with the old calipers.
I have faith that it will work really well. I think you're just going to have to figure out workflow and maybe some things inside of Fusion that you're not familiar with yet.
I think that's a big thing. I think I just need to learn that processing pattern, like the processing workflow. I'm just kind of importing the model directly into Fusion, and there's a lot that comes along that you have to do after that, I think.
You know who I think you should look up? The guy that we always talk about for Fusion, that product design online thing.
He actually has some good videos on this. I've been I've been watching some of his videos on this. He's got some good stuff, but there's still a couple parts that I'm missing, I think.
I feel you. Well, I went down a new rabbit hole in Fusion 360 this week.
Okay, tell me.
I've been working on designing a new hall table.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
At Miranda's request?
Yes. Well, exactly. Yes. Exactly what I wanted to make. And I was like, all right, I'm going to totally model this in Fusion, which, by the way, I've gotten to the point now on Fusion. I'm like, dear God, this is so fast to like, I'm just like, here are all my different components, different like parts of the hull table and the legs and this and that. And I'm like, I want it to be 6 inches bigger. Zoop. Oh, I want it to be an inch deeper. Zoop. Like
when you learn Fusion and you get good at it, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
It takes a while. There is a learning curve. But once you can wrap your head around like the right workflow and like how to do things properly, it's so flexible and so, I don't know, so much more powerful than something like SketchUp or any other 3D modeling software I've used.
So the reason I like to design stuff in Fusion just so I can get like proportions. Like, that looks, that needs to be shorter. Oh, that looks pretty good, right? And I'm like, I put it in there and I'm like, okay, I want to do like some curved legs, like have pieces blend together, some good curves and stuff like that. So I'm going to need to do some template routing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I've spent years doing the drawing out templates by hand, cutting it, sanding it, smoothing it. I'm over that. I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
I got that Shaper Origin, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Haven't used it on a project yet. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make myself use this. So, design the leg shape and everything in Fusion. And I'm like, well, what the hell do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
So I found that you can basically make another sketch on the same surface plane, use that project feature. So now you've effectively projected the entire shape of the legs into a new sketch. You can then right click on the sketch, press export as DXF, which is like an industry standard for CNCs.
Yeah.
Which is effectively a vector file, right?
Yes.
But here's the problem. The Shaper Origin won't take a DXF.
SVG only?
Yeah. So I'm like, what the hell?
Hold on. Can I just take a second and why do we have... I'm sure there's some nerd out there that could explain to me the difference between a DXF and an SVG. But to my simpleton mind, they're the same thing. They're just vector files.
Right. Because DXF is like, if somebody they have like a, what's the big 4x8 CNCs or whatever? Like axials or something?
Yeah, sure. That's one of them.
Whatever the hell it is, right? So what else was I going to say? So like every other CNC in the world uses the DXF file, right? Shaper Origin only takes SVG. And Scott Walsh, just to be clear, chimed in. He said that they do make a Fusion plugin that is very easy to use. I've used it and had varying levels of success. I've found that sometimes it doesn't complete the paths. So like if you have, like shapes or whatever connecting, sometimes it doesn't complete the paths.
Oh.
Or it makes the path have tons of extra geometry that will make the Shaper Origin like really struggle with it.
Interesting.
Like it's like too many data points.
Okay.
I've found it to be a little clunky personally. But anyway, you can get the DXF file. And then I found that in Adobe Illustrator, you can import a DXF, convert it to SVG, no problem. And when you do that, when it's inside of Adobe Illustrator, you can take your mouse over all like the paths and make sure that all the paths are like connecting and stuff like that. If not, super easy. Well, you just press like Shift J or something like that, and you connect the paths.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely had that where I've exported a sketch as a DXF to CNC, and there's like, it'll look like it's a complete line in Fusion, but then when I import it into the CNC, it's like there'll be two lines that aren't quite connected.
Yes.
Like a little micro gap between them.
So bring it into Illustrator. There's a shortcut for it. You connect. Okay, it's called the join tool.
Okay.
You basically select, I don't know, say you have like two lines meeting each other. You click on both lines and press Control J or Command J. And then it basically sucks the paths together. Cool. So then when you bring the file to the CNC, it'll make sure that all that stuff works out well.
Okay. That's very good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So now that I know how to bring the SVG files into Shaper, you basically, what's cool is you go online to like the Shaper Tools hub thing or whatever the hell it is, and you just load all your files on there. And then if your Shaper Origin's connected to Wi-Fi, as soon as you open it up, you have like a whole online catalog of all of your files.
That's cool.
Which is really sick.
Huh.
But dude, it's working really well. I don't know why it took so long to...
You were afraid of all the people in the comments telling you it's not real woodworking if you're...
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's been super nice. Like,
that's cool. So so you've got your sketch, it's in the Shaper. Any challenges like using the Shaper on a bigger piece like that? Are you bemoaning
you one thing.
Okay.
It was because I was texting Keith earlier about some Shaper stuff, and his exact words were, because it was like a 4x8 sheet of plywood or MDF or whatever. And he says, yeah, that's one thing they don't tell you. The chiropractor bill after being hunched over that thing for hours.
Ergonomics could maybe use a little bit of improvement. Yeah, it is kind of like a very hunchy. It's got the screen on the top, so you kind of have to like look down at it. Yeah.
And like a 4x8 sheet of MDF. Because it's an entire like base for a hall table, right? So it's pretty wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a bummer. Yeah.
How long? Okay, so you're cutting out just the legs, or you also doing the tabletop and the MDF?
I'm just cutting out the legs, so like I can quickly show you a picture.
I'm just kind of curious. So how long does? Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, so that's pretty big though. That's like the 4 full width of the sheet, basically like a 4x4 section of the sheet.
Right. So yeah, it's about 4x4. I would say is a good thing. So I made one template that's the entire base, and then another template for each individual piece, so I can basically figure out where, like, how big each individual piece needs to be. Then once I glue it up all together, I can use the larger template to like blend all the pieces together so they're perfectly smooth and stuff.
Gotcha.
You're gonna ask how long did that take me?
That was I want to know. Is that like an hour?
20 minutes.
Okay, not too bad, but still a long time to be hunched over.
Yeah, I definitely took a break.
How's the dust extraction on the?
It's incredible.
It's good. Okay,
it's great. Great.
I mean, cutting a big sheet of MDF like that, you want it to be right.
Right. Because I just connect it to like the Festool hose thingy. It fits perfectly in there. It's great.
Now, let me ask you this. Now that you have more space, do you wish that you had a CNC? Because if you had a CNC, you could just hit carve and walk away.
Just rip it. Do I wish I had one? Absolutely. Would I buy one? Hell no.
What about if one of the companies offered you one for free?
I just don't know where I'd put it. It's such a space hog.
It does take up a lot of square footage. Just mount it to the ceiling. Do something weird where it's like inverted.
Or like if I could find out somehow put it up in the attic.
Yeah.
I only have like a 2x2 manhole to get up in the attic.
I'm pretty sure I've seen people wall mount them. I don't think there's any practical.
What's that like? It's not the X Carve, but one of those other ones. I know people they tell you that you can mount it to the wall. Like that'd be pretty slick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Here's one. Okay. Oh, Onefinity.
Thank you. Yeah. That's the one.
Lots of guys have plans on like how you can make like a folding table for one, but yeah, I guess you can just run it right on the wall.
What an eyesore, though.
Not gonna argue that. That's definitely an ugly thing to have there. Big slab of MDF with a bunch of like sacrificial cuts on it.
Yeah. It's. I don't want that. But the shaper, other than bending over, Shaper Origin's been fantastic.
You're gonna be an 80-year-old man, like hobbled over, walking around with a cane, and you're like, I should have listened to Zach and got a CNC instead of using the Shaper Origin for 40 years.
You know, remember those late night TV commercials that are you affected with mesothelioma?
Yeah.
To be clear, we're not making fun of mesothelioma. We're making fun of the commercials.
Yes, 100%.
And 40 years from now, they're going to be like, did you have a Shaper Origin? And you're like, son of a bitch, I did.
Have you ever done a class action lawsuit before?
I think I have, and I got like $3 from it.
Yeah, I did one a little while. Well, it's probably like 10 years ago at this point. I was going to say a little while ago, but I did one at one point and got like $30 or something like that. Ooh. But I was surprised to see there was like no verification. I was legitimately affected by the whatever. I think it was something to do with monitors, but I can't remember. And yeah, there was like you basically just add your name to a list and they send you the money. I didn't have to submit a receipt or anything like that.
But they always seem so sketchy. They come from like these email addresses that you're like,
oh, dude, it's like some tiny law firm that you've never heard of before.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Like, I don't trust any email that comes through.
You get an email from, it's straight out of the Nigerian Prince playbook.
That's how they look.
Yeah, you get an email from some random company. It's Web 1.0, and it says, "Hey, give us all your personal information. We'll send you a check from this class action lawsuit." It's true.
Yeah, I think the best one I've gotten, I remember reading it and thinking like, oh my God, it's like $150 million. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I was under no illusion that I was getting $150 million, but I'm thinking like, I get $100, $200 out of this. I think my best one is in the 20s that I've ever gotten.
But it's not bad when you're in, university or whatever. When you're an adult with a job, probably not worth your time to jump through all the hoops to sign up for it.
Do you get these emails from YouTube, from the YouTube user research thing?
Private video shared?
What?
Oh, okay. No, I've been absolutely getting demolished by people sharing private videos with me. and it's always like changes where they're basically scammers posing as official YouTube emails. So they'll share a video, and the title of the video will be something like "Changes to Monetization Rules" or something like that to try and get you to click on it. I've been getting like at least 3 or 4 a day.
Now, I get this one. It's YouTube user research, and they want you to take these surveys, and they're like 20, 30, 40 minutes, could be even longer, and they pay you like $15. Like,
oh, I did do one of those at one point.
I used to do the ones where you just go click, 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 and just like bang it out.
Dude, they ask you so many questions though. Even if you're in, I'm just going to bang this out mode, you're still sitting there for like 20 minutes.
And you're like, this is not even worth my time.
Yeah. I didn't do it for the money at the time. I did it for I was like, because I had the YouTube partner manager or whatever.
God, don't get me started on that.
It was before I realized how useless that guy was. That I did it because I was like, oh, maybe it'll look good. It'll be like, like I'm a team player or something like that.
Right.
Ooh, speaking of, I mean, this is maybe a good tease for the after show. But
I've got something I need to talk about in the after show. I'll tell you that. I
got a copyright strike on my channel, and I fought it, and I won.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I want to hear that story in the after show.
Yeah, well, we're gonna save it for the after show because it's spicy.
Well, I got to tease mine as well. Loving the Shaper Origin. However, I have one thing that absolutely plagues that machine. Texted Keith about it. He goes, "Yup."
Oh.
He's like, everyone complains about this, and they have never addressed it.
Okay.
But if you want to know what we're talking about, you got to head over to patreon.com/offthecut-podcast. Unlock the bonus show. That's where we're going to be hanging out for the next little while. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. If you're too cheap to join us for the after show, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't.
No, I mean, dude, you're talking to a person that is a patron of exactly 0 other podcasts. So, hey, you don't want, if you're too cheap, you don't want to join, you're in good company.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
See ya. All right.
We made it. Oh, don't we? Hold on. Don't we have to play the end thingy?
Oh my God. Yeah. God,
how do I do that?
We fall apart without Deric.
We give a huge shout out to our returning top tier patrons: Corey Duvall at Woodcrafts and Honey, Josh at Sawdust Bills, Joe Welsh at Delaware Valley Workshop, Goblin Spanker.
You can't say that anymore.
Building Creative.
Bingo bango, you're done.
Zach, to be honest with you, I don't even know if I followed you.
You should stop.